podcast, guys. My name's Jose.
My name is Sebastian.
How you going? Hi.
How are you doing? I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Starting to mess us up already.
Yeah, I know. You doing good? I see. Happy?
Yeah.
Good. You feeling good?
Yeah, I'm feeling good.
Good. How you liking our new mics?
The quality, I'm hearing it's a lot better.
It's a little better.
A lot better.
So today we're going to talk about our beloved trucking industry. I got some stats and I did some research around looking at the numbers, like how old the truck drivers are and how some other numbers that I'm going to pull up again. Pretty eye-opening, to be honest with you, especially on the fleet sizes. How like that's going to interest you. So we'll give you. We'll talk about some of those numbers, and I'll give you some interesting numbers at the end, and then a couple tips around some of those, what I did as a driver, and what I think is some of the issues with health. We'll bring up some stats and talk about that too, and we'll give out some tips at the end and some numbers that are pretty eye-opening for how impactful it is for trucking industry to be on and everything pretty much. So. Before we start, what do you got? What do you got in the shop?
We got a radiator. Unfortunately, on one of our newer.
The one we just bought.
Yeah, we got a radiator. We got a trans job that's going on right now. That's the one that we have a video. Right, it was a grinding noise at 65.
We do have a video. We didn't go live yet, but it's a warranty fix though. Do you know?
Yeah.
You know that? Yeah. So they're gonna rebuild it for us again. What else?
What else we got going on? We got some.
All the new trucks pretty much are getting done.
All getting prepped
ready.
right now.
Yeah, we're interviewing. We had some good guys come across, so we're still looking. We're looking for good techs that want to be part of Era Service and shoot with us, maybe even.
Hell yeah!
We're gonna start soon on the international. I have a game plan for that too. People have been asking. We should have a deadline because without a deadline, you will never get anything done. So, but let's jump in today's topic. And how old are the truck drivers? So I'm going to read out some stuff and then give you the source. Truck drivers in the U.S. are older than workers in general, with the median age of over-the-road driver being 46 compared to 42 with other occupations. Private fleet drivers are a median of 57 years old, and drivers in training are a median of 35. These ages are a bit concerning for those in the trucking industry. It's believed the older ages of the drivers contribute to the country's current and looming trucker shortage, which is, let me finish this. To drive a tractor trailer across state lines, a person must be 21 years old, meaning adults between 18 and 20 may be gainfully employed in another field by the time they could enter trucking as a career. Yeah, some states are below 21. You can do intrastate.
Interstate, right?
But the trucking shortage topic, and this is from American Trucking Association, it's something that we've been hearing a lot, but have we talked about trucking shortage at all? Truck driver shortage?
We might have touched it briefly, but nothing crazy.
I don't want to dwell on this too long. It's one of the questions that you have, which we'll get to. Is what do you think is causing the trucking shortage, the truck driver shortage?
I would say maybe the guys are unfamiliar with the whole e-logs. Maybe that's keeping them away from the industry, possibly.
That's the older generation.
Older generation, yeah,
possibly, but more so is that just the rap of truck drivers and the way it's represented, and I found a stat that was actually pretty impressive. That usually we think people have truck drivers have a better reputation, but actually, the people that were asked, the survey that they were running said that 70% of people actually admire truck drivers and like respect them, which I don't know where do we get that narrative that truck drivers are perceived as dirty and it's a dirty industry maybe, but I think because of COVID it changed a little bit how
the respect, right?
How the narrative changed in the media, how truck drivers are important and they keep showing up to work and delivering stuff. And we'll get to some of the numbers, but I think it's something else. I think the shortage of truck drivers is because of the looming autonomous trucking, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But what else do we got?
Absolutely. But I got a quick question. I know you were talking about age. What age is there like a certain age that you have to retire your CDL? You have to give it up, or how does that work? I know you were saying like 57 years old, the average.
No,
OTR.
It's from what I know is that, I mean, you have to have a DOT physical that you clear every year, and then as you get older, they sometimes shorten if you have some kind of condition, they shorten the length of your DOT physicals. You cannot drive a commercial vehicle without a DOT physical. So if you're a fit 70-year-old, I don't think you're going to be stopped from driving. Of course you can. But
is that, would you
it's
say,
more about your health
okay,
than anything. And that is a big issue because it's hard to be healthy behind the wheel for a long period of time. But if you are,
many years,
then they're just not. I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments if there is restrictions on age, but I don't think there is. All
right. How far do truck drivers drive? In 2018, United States truck drivers drove a combined 304.9 billion miles. If a driver follows the 11-hour driving limit and takes their required 30-minute break at an average of 60 miles per hour, they could cover 630 miles in one day. Would you say that's average for your drivers?
Yeah, it's the 630 is a little bit pushing it. There's a lot of different variables that will make you actually drive 630. Have I seen 630? Yeah, but you can't continue that every day. It's almost
road
impossible
conditions,
to maintain. Yeah,
everything, right?
Yeah, brakes, all that stuff. I did that. No, I'm kidding. But it's with paper logs it was a little bit different. That's why with ELDs you have a lot more visibility and data around that. You can't have two ELDs. Some people
Who
probably
says you
do.
can't?
Some people probably do. That's a good one though. Yeah, that it is. It's accurate. It's pretty accurate. But the 304 billion miles. It's impressive. That's a lot. Team drivers can go further, but that's a different thing. You're not limited by your ELD. You're pretty much moving constantly. It's a different type of operation, but just living in the truck all the time. And that's from also American Trucking Association and FMCSA. How dangerous is truck driving? In 2019, truck driving was named the 7th most fatal job in the country, with over 1,000 fatal work injuries that year. This number comprises nearly 20% of all deaths resulting from workplace incidents. That's a lot. In 38% of cases, the driver was not wearing a seatbelt.
No kidding.
Wow, quarter of those. Commercial vehicle driving is hazardous not just to the drivers, but also to the passengers, other vehicles, and pedestrians. In 2018, 5,096 crashes involved these vehicles resulted in death of a truck driver or another person. 2018 also saw 121,000 injury accidents involving buses or other large commercial vehicles. Bureau of Labor Statistics. It is dangerous. It's very dangerous.
Pretty sure you had your close calls in your driving.
I did.
Always wore your seatbelt though, right?
I did, yeah. Oh, I don't understand that, to be honest.
Especially not. I mean, I'm not saying I would let it slide in a car, but in a truck, come on.
Yeah, but even in the car, I just don't get it. I don't know. In a truck especially, because you have a gigantic windshield, and if you hit something, you're flying out of that.
Right through it. Yeah.
And I just don't understand the logic behind not buckling in. But please buckle in, guys. Be safe. Is truck driving bad for your health? This is a topic that it's dear to my heart because I feel like the infrastructure is somewhat not there to be able to maintain and obviously education too. But every truck stop and every place, we'll try to get some good health food. We'll get to that. Long haul truck drivers may be at risk of with a lot of health issues. Below are the rates of some of these health issues among truck drivers. However, truck drivers do need to pass the DOT physical, and the following health issues may be correlated but not necessarily caused by the commercial truck driving lifestyle. So there's few of them here listed. Cholesterol, and I can say that's fine. That's okay, Sebastian, don't worry. 4%. And then diabetes. So diabetes is 14%. Double the general population, it says. The next one is morbid obesity rate, which is a BMI of 40 plus, which is crazy.
Crazy, yeah.
So that's 17%. About 10% more than all employed adults.
Yeah,
we'll get to that in a little bit. And then BMI 30 plus, it's 69%. So that's still significant.
Yeah.
Compared to about a third of all employed adults. So, do you know what BMI means?
Body mass index, I believe. Yeah.
Right. So, and then blood pressure, 2%. Percentage on blood pressure medications, 25%. That's
pretty high.
Yeah. Poor sleep on work days, 1%. Sleep apnea, 5%. I'm surprised. I thought I was going to be a little higher than that.
That poor sleep one, it seems a little low, right? 1%.
It does. Versus 16% for days without working. Interesting. But sleep apnea, I thought it was going to be a little higher, to be honest with you. And then smoking, 51% compared to 19% of all the employed adults. So super crazy. What I was going to touch on the obesity is it's such a additional job on top of what you're doing in general as an OTR or truck driver to now prep your meals. And if you want to eat healthy, it's really hard. Like, you really have to plan out your week, and it's the infrastructure isn't there. Like, there, every truck stop. Well, what are you going to do? Subway and eat a yoga mat for bread? It's not. There's not a lot of good places at truck stops, and nor there are truck stops that actually try to even go that route. Some of them are putting sandwiches places in it. You know, you're lucky when you go through Oasis somewhere on a turnpike, and then they have some healthy options. But it's extremely difficult because everything is processed and
fast food, burgers, hot dogs, all that stuff, right?
Yeah. And the tip for that is, I usually, if I couldn't prep for the whole week, I would buy from a restaurant that I liked, and I would freeze it. So there are a couple of restaurants around Chicago that I would order up a main meal for every day, and then I would just take it with me frozen.
Okay, nice. It
is a little harder because then you have to figure out how you're going to do it. So you have to have a gigantic cooler and then just deal with that. But it was so much better than I didn't have to worry about what I'm going to eat next. And I wish there was some kind of a new angle on building truck stops, you know. I know there are gyms, usually dirty, nobody's using them, you know, but some kind of a different spin on a healthy, good place that would be alternative to what's happening. And I haven't been on the road for some time, but I drive around the country, and I still see nothing's really improving.
Nothing's been changed, right?
Nothing's been changing, you know.
It's a broad
again. Topic. Yeah, I know. We are going to hit the road again with our international.
All right, so I got a question. How will automation...
Automation.
How do you say it again?
Automation.
Automation. How will automation affect the trucking industry? There's a growing fear that automation, particularly driverless cars, will harm the trucking industry. Harvard Business Review believes that this fear is overblown, as truck drivers do far more than just drive. And automation that can fully control large vehicles is in the far future.
So let me jump in here because it's a broad topic. And do you want to finish that sentence? Do you want to keep reading? And I shouldn't.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
While many industries are losing jobs to automation, the jobs that are being automated sooner are largely ones that involve fewer implications. For instance, risk of shoplifting resulting from automation as opposed to risk of major vehicle accidents. Companies that create self-driving cars don't anticipate truck drivers being made completely obsolete, with some saying they only intend for trucks to self-drive on long open highways with humans taking over off the highway. Truck drivers will still be involved, potentially using remote control rather than being in the vehicles.
Yeah, I think when you look at automation and autonomous driving, and automation isn't, I mean, it's obviously not autonomous driving, but what the talk about autonomous trucks results in truck driver shortage. And I think, in my opinion, it causes even more people to be like, well, why would I go into an industry that's going to be obsolete in
15 years
or even 10 years? Because who knows? But the truth is, you're always going to need truck drivers, and you can't fully automate a truck to do like this. The study said to have the truck do everything. There's no way that's going to happen. You can only do some, the highway driving, but at the same time we were thinking, okay, you're still going to need, if that's going to change in any way, as far as having the truck run by itself on the highway. Let's say you're sending a truck from Chicago to Indy, and there's always, that's actually a short run. Let me do a different example, a longer distance, right? Because that distance from Chicago to California, let's say, when you send a truck over there, well, so many different things have to happen in between that a long OTR route. That you could probably automate a truck to pull in and get recharged if it's electric or get refueled, but you'll still need guys as soon as it gets to bigger cities, metropolis. You're still gonna have somebody to handle it, which is similar to triples right now. When you have doubles and triple trailers, you have special designated areas. People come in and you have a guy pull 3 through a certain area, and then he disassembles, and then it's 2, right? Or even 1. And there are designated areas that you can do that. So I feel like that's what might happen. But the talk about the trucks is what's preventing a lot of drivers actually considering the career.
But also, let's say, like in the tanker industry, how are you gonna have the truck drop off the gas at the gas station? How's that gonna work out? You still gotta have the driver hook up the hoses, fill up the tanks, storage tanks, dump trucks,
Unless we go to full electric, and then wireless electric, because then just the truck pulls into a place and you don't have to plug in anything, right? But at the same time, when you're going into your majority deliveries, you do. So that is potentially the OTR was going to be phased out, which is drivers. That's where the shortage is most apparent.
On the OTR.
Yeah, it's on the OTR division. So, yeah, maybe if we could phase out the OTR for drivers and then create a lot more regional driving, then but when my operation, when we're doing regional, there's a lot of things that the driver has to do, meaning interact with people at the shipping places, make sure everything is secured properly. Yeah, make sure. It's a lot, a lot more than the truck could handle. Plus, we would have to go full autonomous or majority autonomous with passenger cars. You can't start
on the commercial side.
The trucking side. Yeah. You have to first do the passenger regular cars, and that has to work for a good time. And then you can be like, all right, we can introduce that. But again, what do I know? I'm in trucking. Are truck drivers satisfied with their jobs? As with any field, those employed in trucking aren't always completely happy with their careers. Driver burnout isn't uncommon, frequently because of disappointment in their management, salaries, or workloads. And I can speak to that a lot. Management is primarily the number one complaint of truck drivers. Not at my company. Despite the survey mentioned above reporting most of the public looks positively upon trucking, not all drivers feel This is the truth. We are treated like the bad guys on the road by other drivers and the police. Says, I'm not going to say who said that, but it was an interview in Washington Post, and that is the case. There's a lot of unfairness as far as couple things, how truck drivers and trucks are, and I don't want to get into that because it's a delicate topic. But a lot of things are ridiculous around how truck drivers are being blamed for stuff which is now being fixed with the cameras, which is helping big time having cameras.
Insurance fraud's probably right.
Insurance fraud. Well, even if you know how many accidents or bumpers or fender benders or situations you had, that if you didn't have the camera, it would be always on the truck.
We caught one the other day. Remember?
Yeah. I caught 5 last 2 years that were like, if we didn't have the camera, it would be on us.
Yeah.
So we should do a review of our system that we have maybe in the future. And then additionally, working as a commercial truck driver can negatively affect relationships, this is a big one. Transportation has the second highest divorce rate of any industry, coming in at 40.5%. So 40%, just tad above 40%. Longtime truck driver says, I've been divorced 2 times because of truck driving. Yeah, it's not far from the truth. I've been seeing that, but further saying he wouldn't recommend the job to people with families because of the time spent away from home, which is the OTR thing aspect of what we just talked about. The health issues play a significant role, obviously. However, not all drivers are dissatisfied. Half of the drivers interviewed by the Washington Post said they would recommend the job to others, largely because of the low price of training compared to relatively high pay once you get your first job. Source fleet owner, Monster.com, and the Washington Post. Yeah, I would say the same thing. The training isn't as expensive, and you can make a pretty good living as a truck driver. And I would definitely recommend that job to everybody, and I think there's a bright future around truck driving, and it's only going to get. What we're going to start seeing, I think, is, let's have Tesla truck for example, right? You're going to have a truck that's so cool to drive and has so many. There's a lot of cool trucks there. Any truck, even our old, international cab overs are cool to drive, but it's going to make that environment to be in a lot car-like. You know what I mean? You're going to have a lot of tech around you, a lot more safety, and it's going to be a cool place to see the difference, the shift between how trucks are being built, and it's just the time that I think is the biggest issue, which is the OTR component of truck driving. But here's some stats that I pulled out, and we're going to wrap this up. 80% of all cargo is transported by trucks. 8% by air, 6% by pipeline, 4% by rail, 2% by water. 80%.
4% rail. That seems low, right?
Yeah. Which I mean, I'm not sure what was taken into consideration, but intermodal is a significant. I don't know if that falls under that same category, but industry revenue, annual trucking industry revenue. You want to give it a shot? Try to guess it.
Is that going to be like a per driver, or is that going to be
the entire industry? $726 billion annually. Freight revenue is forecast to grow 75% by 2026. So 5 years, it's gonna
grow even more.
3/4 more. Yeah. 1.3 million trucking companies, which is crazy. 46% is private carriage, 54% is for hire trucking. You know the difference though, right?
No.
So private fleets are, somebody has product they're selling, they have their own fleet managing their.
So like
shipment.
Let's say Pepsi or
right. And then for hire is just everybody else. This is a good one. Top 5 trucking companies by revenue. UPS, $29 billion. FedEx, $19 billion. JB Hunt.
No Amazon? Not yet, right? No.
It's an older study, I guess. Do we want to guess JB Hunt? If not, FedEx was 19 billion and UPS 29.
I would say 15.
6.2.
6.2. What?
Was higher, yeah. I don't know what they take because JB Hunt has a lot of different divisions. So YRC 4.8 billion and Swift 4.2 billion. This is a good fact, which is pretty amazing. 90% of trucking companies operate fewer than how many trucks? Fewer than 6 trucks. 90% of the trucking companies operate fewer than 6 trucks.
So there's a lot of small fleets out there.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy,
isn't it? I've heard that stat 90%. Before. I've heard that, and yeah, it is. It's crazy that there's a lot of small businesses like that. You know, it is the most hazardous. I can't say that word. Dangerous job out there. What else do I have that I? The mileage. That's nothing too important, really. 143 billion is spent on fuel, which is that's pretty interesting. And then a long-haul truck driver logs over 100,000 miles annually, which is almost 4 times the length of the equator.
That's
100,000 miles. Yeah, that's a pretty average. And it's it's most common occupation in 29 states in the U.S.
29 states.
Yeah. And top 10 goods by value. That's a good one too. What do we haul as the
electronics?
Industry?
I would say, right, would be a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Clothing.
Yeah. So 8.3% is electronics. The highest percentage is 10.4% is machinery. 8.3 electronics, motorized vehicles also 8.3, mixed freight 6.1%, pharmaceuticals 5%, gasoline 4.4%, manufactured products 4.1%, textiles, fabric 4.1%, natural gas, coal, asphalt 3.6%, and plastic, rubber 3.4%. Trucker Pat made that stat. Awesome stat. What do you think? Crazy.
It's crazy.
Pretty big industry and involved in pretty much everything.
And then you said it was like 146 mil on the fuel, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
That's
146 billion.
Yeah. And the revenue was 700,
yeah. So the entire there obviously there's all divisions probably fall into that, but it's significant. We are the bloodline of the nation, I guess.
You got that right, yeah.
And we encourage people to consider truck driving and hopping into trucks. It could be a very good career with pretty good benefits as far as income, and you have an opportunity to become an owner or small fleet owner.
Like that 90%. If that works for you, or if you have bigger goals, go for it.
Yeah. So definitely encourage everybody, if you're 21 plus or even younger, do your local straight bucks B-class license, and you can run local and get a lot of experience. And then hop in and do your CDL Class A and hop in the big rig and make a pretty good living. So thank you guys. Thank you everybody there, all truck drivers and owners and fleets for delivering our goods. We appreciate you. And thank you very much. That's it. Thank you for listening. Subscribe, share.
And we'll talk to you soon.